Joining us now is Ojineka, Jinex, Okpe, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinex.
Do you know he was perfect on Friday? I don't know what happened to him.
He's had a relapse.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you?
Good morning. Good to see you. How was your weekend?
Great. It's great to see you, Queen Victoria.
Thank you, darling.
You look lovely.
So do you.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Rafai.
Morning, Audrey. You know, I'm so excited this morning. We're
Tell
all
me
back
why.
together, all of us. Tundu's back.
Absolutely.
Full house again.
Absolutely.
So excited.
Hope you had a great weekend.
Oh, yeah. Crazy weekend. But thank you so much, Audrey. Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe.
So today, while the virus hasn't been vanquished, we know this. It no longer controls our lives. It no longer paralyzes our nation. And it's within our power to make sure it never does again.
In the United States, President Joe Biden touted the nation's progress against the coronavirus pandemic on Sunday as he and First Lady Jill Biden hosted their biggest party yet at the White House, marking the 4th of July holiday. In Japan, a devastating mudslide has left 3 persons dead and more than 100 others missing after torrential rains triggered landslides, which swept away homes and cars in southwest of Tokyo over the weekend. In the Philippines, 50 people were killed after an Air Force plane carrying 96 military personnel and crew crashed in the country's south near Patikul village on Sunday. The crash is the country's worst military air disaster in decades. In Ukraine, plans by the Defense Ministry to have female soldiers march in high heels instead of conventional army boots during parade has sparked outrage. In Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the Vatican by sending a get-well message to Pope Francis, who on Sunday was scheduled to undergo surgery for symptomatic diverticular stenosis of the colon. Under sports, the Super Eagles of Nigeria were defeated 4-0 on Sunday in their international friendly against Mexico at the LA Coliseum. The defeat is Nigeria's 8th winless run in friendly matches. Nigeria's last win in a friendly match was in 2019 when they beat Egypt 1-0 with a first-minute goal by Paul Onuachu. Finally, under entertainment, there was excitement across Nollywood over the weekend as the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences named its renowned actor and director Ramsey Noah and film executive Mo Abudu among 395 members invited for its class of 2021. New York-based filmmaker Andrew Dosunmu also made the list, now comprising of 11 Nigerian film creatives that have been invited to join the Academy since 2018. Congratulations to Nollywood. Tundu, you are excited.
Yes, it's fantastic. So they continue to include Nollywood stars. I mean, the first one, I believe, was Omotola. I believe was
in
the first
2018,
one. Yes, and they continue. So it just goes to show that the Academy is responsive. They've taken that appalling criticism that they got, that Oscar So White scandal, and clearly they're doing their best to never have a reoccurrence. All voices need to be heard. Everybody needs to get a seat on the table so that we actually have Oscars that people watch. Because you recall, the ratings have plummeted.
Yes.
So they need to stay fresh. They need to stay relevant. It's great.
You're always correct. Well, let's begin what's trending in Nigeria. Yoruba activist Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, is demanding an apology from the federal government over the invasion of his residence by operatives of the Department of State Security. Igboho is also demanding a sum of 500 million naira in compensation for the damage done to his property. He made the demands in a statement by his counsel, Yomi Aliyu, who described the invasion as grossly illegal and unconstitutional. In the meantime, reactions have continued to trail the death of Jumoke, the 14-year-old trader who died over the weekend after the police allegedly fired in the air during the Yoruba Nation rally in Lagos. Tundu, you know, I expressed apprehension about this rally. Really tragic situation with that young girl who lost her life. I don't know what her mother is going through at this point. But reactions are, trailing Igboho's demand for 500 million naira, in damages. And a lot of people are saying, wow, 500 million naira is a lot of money. But why did they invade his house in the manner that they did?
Well, he can make the demand. It's up to a court whether they're going to grant it or not. And I do hate to say it, in the Abacha era, they could come and get you. They can even kill you, but they don't touch your cars. They don't touch your things. It's a little more civilized than going to somebody's home and shooting up the place. I mean, it just looks like the idea is to intimidate. The message is be very afraid. So it's actually beyond his alleged crimes. I think it's a warning to everybody else, considering even making a suggestion of secession. The federal government has made it very clear the gloves have come off and you will be dealt with. That is the message that we're getting here as Nigerians. And it's to frighten, which I don't believe has a place in a democracy. As for Jumoke, somebody sent me a video of her mother. It was heartbreaking. I couldn't actually watch the whole thing. But it's been said that she was not 14 years old, that she was 25. Even if she was 85.
She was 10.
She had, nobody deserves to die like that. I don't understand why water cannon, tear gas, cannot be used. Why live ammunition at a peaceful protest? We have this conversation constantly. Somebody has to be held to account. But the Lagos State Police has denied any, involvement in her death. So I hope there's a really robust public investigation. We need to get to the bottom of this. Yes. Somebody needs to be accountable for her death.
Correct. Well, Dr. Bati, your analysis.
Okay, let's start with the Yoruba Nation rally at the Freedom Park in Ojota during the weekend. You will recall that before that rally, the Lagos State Police Command, led by Commissioner of Police Akim Odumusu, had said that the protest would not be allowed because in 2020, a similar protest was hijacked. And it was referring to the Against Us protest. And the hoodlums, they had intelligence that hoodlums will hijack the process and cause mayhem. Now, the commissioner was assured that nothing of such was being planned by those organizing the Yoruba Nation rally. They pointed to the fact that similar rallies have been held in other parts of the Southwest, and there was no violence. But the commissioner apparently was not convinced. Now, ahead of that was the assault on the home of Sunday Igboho. Initially, we were told the rally would not take place. Eventually, some other people said it would take place. And they had that confrontation there with the commissioner or the police telling them to disperse, the people saying that they meant no harm. Now, the first point is that the right to protest is a constitutional right.
Yes, it is.
In the first place, it was wrong of the Lagos State Police Command to say that that rally will not take place. Under the Police Establishment Act itself, the duty of the police is to provide protection for persons who are expressing their grievances. The second point, the police command in Lagos State has said they did not use any live ammunition, that nobody fired shots. But we saw on TV persons firing shots into the air. And this 14-year-old lady has alleged, now you say she was 25, they said was killed by a stray bullet. The police are claiming that it was a knife stab that led to her death. Whether it was a knife stab or a stray bullet, nobody deserved to die. And in any case, this was a young person who was not even directly involved in the protests. So I think the important point is that the Lagos State government has said this will be investigated. And we hope that when it is investigated, when an autopsy is conducted, the exact truth will be disclosed. I was a bit disturbed because within hours after the incident, the police in Lagos had already issued a statement that it was a knife stab. How did they determine that? Did they carry an autopsy? Did they have access to the corpse? But, another needless death caused by the problems faced by Nigeria.
Very well
the second leg of it is Sunday Igboho. We have made a point here that, look, yes, nobody is above the law. The state can make that point. But there are also procedures. There is something called due process. You go into a man's house, cars were destroyed, Igboho's wife and the wives of his aides were carted away, and they were later released in Akure. Even cats in the compound, even cats were taken away. So when did a cat become a legal entity in Nigeria? So this kind of recklessness This kind of recklessness, is what is being condemned. And if Sunday Igboho's lawyer is asking for 500 million as compensation, where he knows as a lawyer that he has to follow due process too. He has to go to court. He's also demanding an apology. Whether that apology will come or not, you can imagine that. But at the end of the day, the key question is, you have Sunday Igboho, you have people protesting. Who is taking time out? And this is not about law. This is about the politics. This is about the state of the nation. Who is taking time out to listen, to find out why is it that these persons are protesting? Whether they are followers of Nnamdi Kanu or they are followers of Sunday Igboho, and what kind of conversation are we having around the big issues that have turned old patriots into challengers of the state, into rebels? Because at a time, Nnamdi Kanu was not against Nigeria. At a time, Sunday Igboho was not leading any, kind of protest. So why is it that these patriots have become rebels in the eyes of the Nigerian state? These are the questions to be addressed. But the state, the government of Nigeria, must be reminded that it can never do the right thing using criminal methods, because that will amount to the government itself committing crime.
Very well
Nobody
said.
is supporting secession. Nobody is supporting any kind of attempt to overwhelm the state. But the government itself must provide leadership in doing the right thing, even when it is enforcing the law.
Rufai, your analysis on the story.
I mean, it has to be said that anywhere you see injustice, definitely people will resist. And that is what is happening. And the problem of Nigeria can be traced to many things. Economic injustice, 33% unemployment rate, very, very high numbers of people out of work. Then people will go on the streets. Regional injustice. People from a certain area feels left behind. I mean, we're talking about the PIB now. And we're shocked at how we are going to drill for oil that we know is not in commercial quantity in the Gongola Basin. People will resist. People will talk. And when they express themselves, it is for you as the government to listen to them. And I keep saying this, a lot of people forget it, that you see, position is transient, but the state remains the same. People in government now will leave too one day, other people will come in. What are going to be the legacies we'll leave? Those are the questions we should ask ourselves. And every government should try its best to deepen democracy, justice, and fairness. So Dr. Abati asked the question, why are we seeing these people protest? 33% unemployment rate, injustices. Those are the reasons. And we don't compile the issue by using force and violence. Yeah, when you go back to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, he will argue that the government has autonomy of violence. But let's not also forget Section 14, subsection 2A of our Constitution that says that the government derives its sovereignty from the people. So these people you are using violence against are the people that gives you your sovereignty. Are you going to discountenance that? And why should protests lead to death? My commiserations to the families of that girl that lost her life. Why should protests lead to death in this country? Why is it that people can't go out, air their views? I mean, look at the people protesting. Were they attacking anybody?
No, it was completely peaceful, Rufai.
So it was a peaceful protest.
Completely
so why
peaceful.
should people die for a peaceful protest?
Right.
And why is it that protests are frowned against? Let's not forget, in this same country, in 2012, some people protested and shut down this country from the 2nd of January to the 14th of January. People who were not killed for that. People stood at the Ganifawa Emi Square and they were allowed to protest and put live band there on stage to exercise their rights. And nobody chased them out of Ganifawa Emi Square. And in fact, after that protest, the president listened to their plights. We want that Nigeria again.
We do. We'll take another story. Reactions have trailed the arrest of an alleged commander of the Eastern Security Network, Benjamin Emeoyiri, who over the weekend confessed to killing 10 young girls and used their heads to prepare charms for fortification. The 28-year-old was said to have been arrested by operatives of the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team deployed in Imo State. According to reports, the alleged commander said he was trained by the ESN for 2 weeks and that he participated in the attacks on the Owerri Correctional Center the country home of the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, and other attacks in the southeastern region. Well, in the meantime, the spokesperson of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Emma Powerful, in a statement, denied claims by the alleged commander. He described the ASN commander as a mole planted by the federal government, and that following the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, the federal government will go to any length to implicate its leader in any crime. Emma Powerful has clarified that statement. We don't know how true that is, but it needs to be investigated. But the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu has generated a lot of reactions. I believe last week we actually took a story on the AGF announcing his arrest in Hausa, which we would like to apologize for because he actually did make that statement first in English before he announced the arrest in a Hausa language, was actually answering questions from reporters like the BBC. But this story really needs to be investigated, this IPOB commander. 10 girls and charms. It's such a...
It's grisly.
It's
horrible.
so disgraceful if that actually happened.
Well, we don't know. Is he a snitch or is he a government mole? Because the media offensive is on. We have heard that Nnamdi Kanu was living lavishly, dressed in designer duds, and now he's some kind of ritual killer, a mass murderer of girls. So I don't know where to quite, place this. As this story unfolds, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more.
Yes, Dr. Bate, a quick comment from you.
Okay, yeah, very quickly. First, on the Attorney General of the Federation and the fact that he spoke in Hausa. You recall that when that story was brought up, we had expressed concern that the lingua franca in Nigeria is English. But what was later discovered is that it was addressing the BBC Hausa service. And the BBC Hausa service wanted him to speak in Hausa. And then subsequently, that press conference took place. And I recall that on that day, we asked for the Ministry of Justice to offer a clarification, which they may not have done. But this clarification is important to indicate that no malice was intended in that regard. Now, quickly, the other issue about IPOB. Well, Emma Powerful, what is he saying in response to the statement by Emmanuel Emeoyiri? He's saying that, look, there are persons within IPOB who are moles. That's the word he used. And there have been people who have also said that there is a divide and rule tactics being adopted by the Nigerian government. And that is the nature of a revolution. You may not be able to prove it, but the assumption, of course, is that there were persons inside the body who may be working against Nnamdi Kanu himself. You will recall that even the IPOB itself was divided. It was a divided body. There was even a major figure within the movement who created his own movement, who even threatened that he would make sure that he unmasked Nnamdi Kanu. So there are many sides to it, but of course, the big issue of us is even if the state planted moves within IPOB, you will not expect that kind of tactics is beyond the Nigerian government to make sure that they go after a person that they are declared wanted and a persona non grata. But the bigger issue is the fact that Nnamdi Kanu is now, in custody, and we hope that he will have his day in court and that he will be given all his rights under the law.
Right. Rufai, I'll take another story so you can comment on that. Okay. The Kaduna State Governor, Nasser El-Rufai, has come under fire on social media for withdrawing his children from public schools in the state over fear of attacks by bandits. The governor over the weekend claimed that the reason he withdrew his children from public schools was because he gathered intelligence that at least 3 groups of bandits planned to infiltrate a public school where his son attends to kidnap him over his stance on non-payment of ransom. According to the governor, his decision in the first place to send his children to public schools was a way of showing his commitment to fixing public education and raising the standards. Well, let's take a quick reaction from Don Kupsi, who wrote, "As precious as your son is to you, it's just how precious the son of the common Kaduna man is to him. You moved to secure your son. What are you as governor doing to secure the fate of thousands of sons of common people of Kaduna you have left at the mercy of bandits?" Rufai, that's your question.
Oji, an American comedian I think George Carlin wrote a book many years ago, and he made this famous quote that political correctness is fascism pretending to be good manners. And that is what has come home to roost here. In the spirit of being politically correct, the governor put his son in the school, made a public furore about it, but now he can't follow through with that because of banditry. So that's an indication to him what his state has become. I mean, if he's a true governor, maybe other parents too that don't have the luxury of pulling their children out of school have left their children in those schools, and bandits are attacking. I mean, the parents of the children in Islamia school in Tegina, they can't pull their children out of the school because only 200 Naira they have to pay monthly, and that's the only school available for them. So you can see where people are trying to feel holier than thou. You can see how it comes to bite them now. Now he's pulling his child out of the school. I mean, somebody would have thought that, okay, the protection of the governor's son should be accorded to every citizen too in the country, in the states, in the spirit of fairness. But now we have seen how politically, when you want to be politically correct sometimes, it's just fascism pretending to be good manners. Now we are so quick because his son has the luxury to be pulled out of the school and taken to a better school. What I want is a country where no child will have to be pulled out of any school because of banditry. Because security should be above all for everybody, be it a son of a governor or a son of a pauper. That's the ideal country.
Very, very well
So
said,
if he wants to stick true to his words, send the child back to the school, because it's the same security you have that should be there for your citizens. You see, this is what we keep saying, politically correct. You see?
Right. R.I.P. George Carlin, I'll start there. I like him. But it just goes to show that Governor Rufai's little attempt at egalitarianism has backfired quite spectacularly, because now he's looking like a hypocrite, and it's one standard for him, another for everybody else.
That's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I will see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, OJ.